Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about how Kamala Harris is planning to make a campaign stop in the Republican state of Texas. Now, Texas voted for Donald Trump in the last election in 2020 by 5.6%, and in an election that is supposed to be so razor thin and so tight, it is really, from our point of view, from the outside point of view, it seems to be a good sign for the Kamala Harris campaign. Whatever their internal numbers are telling them, it's telling them that she can, go out and campaign in these more red areas where she is, unlikely to win and still unlikely to win after the rally. But it's still positive to go to these states and make Democratic inroads for future elections, or potentially in a upset election in 2024, potentially make Texas razor thin, or of course maybe aiming for a Democratic win even in this election in the state of Texas. That would be gigantic, though. So this will occur in 2 days, but that doesn't really matter. But Kamala Harris is campaigning in Houston, or maybe it was Dallas, I forget. But that is extremely, extremely important. Of course, on the presidential level, if Texas were to go blue, it's over. This is my current forecast, and from our point of view, from an external point of view, it appears that this is a razor thin race. That's what every poll is indicating, and Kamala Harris is really slipping in the polls. It's marginal, but in a race that's so close already, it is very significant. Kamala Harris appears to be slipping across the battleground states and in the national polling. So again, a move like this going to Texas, that I'm not going to say I would do that campaign from our point of view. Again, it seems to be a very positive message that Harris is sending about her chances. Again, whatever her internal polls are telling us, that these polls, these numbers that we don't have access to from the outside, they must be pretty positive if she is spending, a whole day possibly, I don't know exactly how long, but basically a whole day, this close to the election, spending it in a state where she is not favored to win, that being Texas. So again, if she does carry Texas, that'd be gigantic. Let's say she wins it by a tilt margin. That's 316. And then she's likely to win all the other battleground states as well. And then it's not even a close election. It's basically a landslide election. But again, that's extremely unlikely to happen, obviously. But again, I currently have it as a lean margin state, so it's absolutely in the realm of possibility. It's not even, a likely state, which is over 5% margin. No, it is literally a lean state, so less than 5% margin, that is. So, it is sort of in the realm of possibility. So it's not like she's visiting West Virginia or Wyoming or Utah, these completely out of range states. And of course, I'm sure you've heard a lot about Texas. This is a state that is trending rapidly towards the Democratic Party. Let's just take a look over the past elections here, or we can even go out here. In 2020, as I said, Donald Trump won the state by 5.6%. Before that, in 2016, he won it by 9%, so you could even see a reduction just in those 4 years. And then from 2012 to 2016 is really stunning as well, because as the nation as a whole became more Republican, right, from 2012 when Obama won to 2016 when Trump won, despite that, Texas actually became more Democratic. They voted for Romney by 16 points in 2012. 4 years later, they'd vote for Trump by only 9%. And then in 2008, it was a bit closer. But ever since 2012, it has been narrowing up significantly, getting more and more in reach for the Democratic Party. And it appears that Kamala Harris is making a play at Texas, trying to get it to, become even more Democratic. Because again, with a 5.6% margin in Texas in 2020, this is a state that you can make a play at if you are someone like Kamala Harris. That is, if you have the time, resources, and money. And again, that's the positive message that this sends. It appears that she does have the time and the resources and the money, because whatever her internal numbers are telling us is that she is ahead in all the other battleground states. I don't know about all, but in a good amount of battleground states, in that she will win the presidency. That at least is what the message is being sent from visiting Texas. But looking a step closer, because this is really important. Around Dallas County, I bring these three suburban counties up a lot. You've got Tarrant County, Denton County, and Collin County. And these three counties have become tremendously more Democratic in just the past few elections. Going back to 2012, Tarrant County voted for Romney by 16, Denton by 32, and Collin by 32. I won't go to 2016 to save time, but again, 16, 32, 32, respectively. In 2020, Joe Biden won Tarrant County. 12 years ago in the 2012 election, they voted for Romney by 16. Biden won it by zero point 0.2. Denton County voted for Romney by 32. Trump won it by 8 in 2020. And the most stunning of all, Collin County voted for Romney by 32, voted for Trump by just 4%. Republicans have lost 28 points in Collin County, in the suburbs around Dallas. And these are only growing more Democratic, right? Texas is one of the most rapidly growing states just in terms of population alone. More, liberal-minded people, especially from California, are moving to Texas, and of course, people move. When they move, they typically move to the suburbs. This is where more liberal-minded people from other states are moving, making the state more democratic. So that's a key point, because what Kamala Harris really has been able to do is perform very well in suburbs. That is what is proven in every poll. She's seeing slippage among some demographics, right? Arab Americans, however much they may be worth. Come election day, we'll see. But African Americans, she has seen a little slippage. In rural areas compared to 2020, she has seen slippage in, again, compared to Biden in 2020. But where she's gaining ground, and what's critically important because of their high population, are the suburbs. The suburbs around Dallas, that is a perfect example of that. So again, a very, very, very positive message coming from the campaign, and it's very different. And I say, I say this as a, not a good move for Harris. That's not what I'm saying, but it really just sends a positive message, because it's very different still. Even though she is going to a state that's unlikely to go to her, it's still very different from the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign. That seems to be very reminiscent of now the Donald Trump 2024 campaign, which is an interesting dynamic. Of course, Hillary Clinton famously did not visit Wisconsin once in the general election, went on to lose it. It wasn't even on her radar. She visited out of reach states like Arizona that voted for Trump by 6 or 7. She visited whatever, all these Republican states, North Carolina, Florida, Ohio, she was obsessed with when she lost it by 8 come election day. But Wisconsin, she barely visited at all, as well as Michigan, and she lost in Pennsylvania. She lost, and she lost those, but she didn't, not entirely not visit them, but she just visited them very little. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't get that spit that out. But this is very different. The Harris campaign, as you can see, this is like a week ago, I think. This was from a few days ago, but this was the week campaign stops of Kamala Harris in a Monday to Friday weekday kind of schedule. And look at all of these stops. You can see in Michigan, this is a Democratic area. She is defending that. That is, she cannot take these more Democratic states for granted. Yes, it was Biden's best state of those 7 battlegrounds in 2020. Voted for him by 3 points, but still, you cannot take these states for granted, especially in a state like Michigan, where you're going to suffer Arab American losses, Democratic losses. Pennsylvania, you could see campaigning in the critical Erie County. They voted for Trump in 2016 by 1.6%. 2020, Biden won it back by 1%. Kamala Harris absolutely wants to hang on to Erie, Pennsylvania, a huge population center in Pennsylvania. You've got, of course, Wisconsin, multiple stops in Wisconsin, 3 stops in Wisconsin, 4 in Michigan, 2 in Pennsylvania. And this is only 1 week, right? I'm sure she's visited Pennsylvania by far the most times if you look at all the stops. But you see the point I'm trying to make. She is campaigning in these Rust Belt states that Hillary Clinton really avoided in 2016, because she took them for granted under her belt and was trying, she was a bit arrogant when it came to campaigning, and she was trying to go for out of reach states, really trying to go for a landslide, when in reality, she really needed to campaign to actually win the presidency at all. So it's important to see maps like this where she is campaigning in these Rust Belt states. So when you see her now, late in the campaign with limited days left, branch out into Texas, that is a very good sign. Message that it's sending, very positive in terms of Kamala Harris's chances. And not only that, you see sort of the opposite from Donald Trump. What Donald Trump is doing is focusing heavily, when this campaign is supposed to be about Donald Trump, expanding on the map from 2020, right? He lost the election in 2020, so he can't just hang on to everything that he won in 2020, because then he'd lose again. This whole campaign is about Donald Trump really expanding his map from 2020, flipping some of these blue states, while Kamala Harris, all she has to do is retain the Biden states, retain most of the Biden battleground states from 2020. And what you're seeing is the opposite. Kamala Harris is really branching out, going for these red states, while we see Donald Trump spending 2 entire days stuck in North Carolina alone, a state that went to him by over a percentage point in 2020. Donald Trump is defending ground while Kamala Harris is going for the jackpot of Texas with now 40 electoral votes in 2024. And it makes sense. Survey USA, A+ rated pollster, has North Carolina among registered voters, Harris ahead. Among just likely voters, the race tied. So Harris is making ground clearly in an A+ rated pollster in a Republican state, North Carolina, and apparently she's making a jab at Texas. Now, again, do I think Harris wins Texas? No. Do I think that, or would I do this? No, because I would be, well, I don't know, honestly, because a lot hinges on this Texas. You've got a few competitive House races. You've got a competitive Senate race now. That helps with those congressional races as well. But also, I say I don't know if I would because I don't have these internal numbers. Clearly, it is positive for Harris here. And again, I don't feel that the Kamala Harris campaign at all is taking states for granted as they did, I'm sorry, as Hillary did in 2016. That is proven. Harris says time and time again, we are the underdogs, and they are clearly, I mean, looking based off this map, they are clearly just trying to defend territory, just trying to scrape by to win this election. They know it'll be a close election. So, they've been very different from the Hillary campaign in that sense. Um, so, again, to see this sort of change in strategy, this shift in strategy, I don't know if it's just to send a message or if it really is, actually a message that is, accurate. Um, but in their internal polling, they must be looking much better, at least compared than how they are looking in the averages of polling, in these 538 averages. Yes, they're flooded with Republican sponsored polls, but still, Kamala Harris has been slipping. So to see, this is supposed to be Harris's low point in her campaign. To see her now, making a jab at Texas, trying to win Texas, it's really surprising. It means that there is something more going on here. And again, this isn't a Hillary 2016 situation, as I was explaining before. The Harris campaign is certainly not the Hillary 2016 campaign. So there is a lot to think about this. It's not them just being arrogant. That is for sure. There is a lot to consider when you've got Harris now going to the Republican state of Texas. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe down below. That helps out a lot. Comment as well your thoughts on this video, and I will see you all later.